Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm dying. Oh, sorry,
and once again, you're all generous patrons who kept us going for over 500 episodes. Yes, Andrew is a bit under the weather, so you're going to be hearing a lot more of this guy's grating voice this episode.
If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week is Takeo Ray. Thank you, Takeo Ray. I have had COVID for the last week. Today's the first day that I can sit up, and so we're gonna do our best. I do have the brain fog. There may be moments where I'm staring off into the distance, and you just let me have this.
It's all right. It'll be just like watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Oh.
So let's get into it. Hopefully, though, I'm not Amber Heard. Jesus. But
Well, actually, I didn't watch the trial, so I don't know.
did, because I think it was during COVID, and that's why when you said COVID, it reminded me of that. And there were moments where, like, you could see, like, he was having, like, serious brain fog. And I was just, like, in my bed, bored out of my mind, and it would just be on in the morning. It would be like, I forget whatever news network was just live streaming it. It was just on, like, Twitch or something. It was being live streamed. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna get into particulars of that. That's gonna be a tangent way offhand. But yeah, like brain fog, I think that's where I like the term solidified with me, and where it was just kind of like trying to remember, like but like brain fog, not like brain eating, like our head of health, who has missing brain cells from a worm.
I'm also just realizing, for you at home, I am adjusting things a little bit on the fly to deal with the fact that my voice sounds awful. So for the first few seconds there, I'm so sorry.
But what did happen is we had a couple things happen. Well, for one, the plans were set in motion weeks ago, maybe months ago. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back and when I bought them. But this Tuesday, normally we record on Tuesday. You were down for the count, and I was gone. So I mean, that's pretty fine. However, plans were set in motion. I guess I found it for sure here. Back on July, weeks ago, about a month ago. What I'm getting at all this is, I decided I'm going to go to Disneyland. So Nintendo was like, direct time. So there was a Kirby Direct on the day I had already planned to go to Disneyland, because this has now happened like 3 years in a row, maybe more. It's been going on for years.
Straight times. This is like the last 10 times that Nintendo's had a Direct has been on the exact day here at Disneyland. It's amazing.
And there's people in my chat who are just kind of like, people are like, oh, when do you think the next Nintendo Direct? And someone's like, well, whenever Simmons goes to Disneyland, that'll be the next Nintendo Direct. The funniest thing, it still gets me to this day, for anyone who doesn't know, is I believe the first time it even happened, they were announcing Directs when I was out doing stuff, but like the first major one was I was in line at the Red Rose Tavern. It used to be a Pinocchio themed restaurant. It's a quick service restaurant inside Fantasyland, Disneyland. And I get a couple texts. One of them's from Stealth. I don't know if we've ever had Stealth on our podcast. He's definitely down. Maybe we'll get him someday. Stealth 40K.
Yeah, we had him.
I've been on him with Easy Allies.
Did I have a fever dream where we had Stealth 40K as a guest?
You probably have. I've been on multiple podcasts with him. So
okay.
so he's pinging me. I get these pings from him on Twitter, and he's like, dude, I don't know where you are, but if you're not at home, be warned. Nintendo just dropped a Xenoblade trailer. and I was like, oh, thank you. I was like, so he was like trying to be super conscious, help me out. And I'm really, so I'm like pretty happy about that. He did that, but it was also kind of panicking because I was like, oh crap. Like, how am I, like, everyone's expecting me to do this. So, it was really it was crazy because at the time, so my beautiful fiance, she literally gets a Twitter Blue subscription there, so we can record a video and upload it to for my live reaction of watching a Xenoblade trailer at Disneyland for Future
Aw.
Redeemed. And the thing that still blows my mind is the end of that trailer. The very last words uttered in that trailer is Matthew, always in Fantasyland. And I was literally in Fantasyland when that trailer dropped. And it's been this reoccurring thing. Hours before I proposed to my beautiful fiance, they dropped a trailer for Xenoblade X Definitive Edition when I was staying in the Disneyland Hotel in Tokyo.
They have a grudge against you.
There's a grudge. There's like, for those who kind of wonder why I always have like some funny reaction to a Nintendo Direct when they announce it, it's usually because I'm probably gonna be at Disney or some other theme park, and then Nintendo's like, well, he's going. It's time to ruin his day. So
Do you think they watch you all the time, or just like the week leading up?
I don't tell anyone when I go. So like when it happens, it's kind of like, what is going on here? Like.
I'm just wondering how many times they've seen you getting like in and out of the shower, like that kind of thing. Like how many times are they catching you during, not intimate moments, but like those awkward moments where we don't think about how bad we look, like you're just like you're climbing over something at an awkward
Well, if
angle.
I ever find a
and
hidden
naked.
camera, I'm shitting right on it.
Joke's on you, they employ Germans.
it's from the NOE German branch. They're way into that shit. But anyways, yeah, that Gamescom, everyone. But yeah, so there was a Nintendo Direct on Tuesday. 45 minutes. I don't know if you saw it. I had to come back and watch. I had to watch it the next day. They did a Kirby Air Riders Direct. Sakurai got to sit on camera for 45 minutes and talk about Kirby Air Riders.
I thought I dreamed this.
No, it happened. November 20th.
I watched a little bit of this while I was sick. Yeah,
but it kind of just looks like more Air Riders. Like, okay, for the people who love the GameCube game, that's probably great.
Right.
For me, I never really understood the appeal of the GameCube game. I played it, I didn't get it. So it was like, okay, it's a pretty version of Air Riders, whatever.
Why did I think you liked it a lot? We know someone that liked it a lot. The GameCube one, I mean.
Squanto probably did.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, he probably definitely had it. No, actually, yeah, that's probably who it is, but maybe Bojack too.
Liam from Matt McMuscles and Liam, when they watch stuff together, Liam really loves it. It's one of his favorite games of all time, so I'm sure he's over the moon. But yeah, like I saw it and I'm like, it's more Air Riders. The crazy thing was Sakurai basically said that it wasn't even his idea, which I immediately didn't believe. But he name dropped specifically like Shinya Takahashi and I think the president of HAL Laboratories. He name dropped two names and said they really requested me to do this while I was working on Smash DLC. And I'm like, really? Did they? I'm like, I'm so distrustful of it. I have a hard time believing it. But on the other hand, it's kind of like if you can believe they would greenlight it, you might have you could almost believe that they are the ones who asked for it.
I mean, somebody loves it at Nintendo.
Yeah, well, it just goes back to like, man, you games and game sequels, they get made because there's a champion. I'm pretty sure it's the same in film too. You get a producer who's got money and clout, and he's like, I really want to make a remake of Citizen Kane, and everyone's like, well, that's a terrible idea. Yeah, but I want to do it. Okay.
Well,
all right, here's $100 million. Go nuts. It's like if Jerry Bruckheimer has an idea, like he's like, hey, I want to make The Rock 2, with like a new set of action stars. Whoever produced the original Rock, or whatever studio put it out, was probably gonna be like, all right, Jerry, sure, whatever, Rock 2, let's go.
Was The Rock a Jerry Bruckheimer?
Pretty sure that was a Bruckheimer production thing. It's Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay is the director.
Yeah. Pretty sure that was Bruckheimer Productions. I know he did Pirates. He's even talked about trying to get Pirates. He basically said the Margot Robbie script is dead. Thank God.
Oh, was it really bad? I hadn't read anything on it.
I don't know if it was bad or not, but it was just kind of like, why? Like the idea was just like, we're gonna reboot Pirates with Margot Robbie's leading. Yeah, I want to see a 90-pound woman being a pirate.
Hey, I don't know. It's another franchise where I feel like they've beaten it to death to the point where like Marvel hasn't even necessarily had like bad entries the last couple entries, but like I'm so burnt out on it that I have a hard time being excited.
I'm the opposite, where I'm just like, I know they're bad, but I don't care. They're fast. They're my Fast and the Furious movies. This pirate movies, like all five. I like all five. Obviously, none of them are as good as the first. But that's just a given. Davy Jones' CG is incredible, but like the first movie is the only actually masterpiece is the first one. The other ones are 2 and 3 are kind of good, but they're too bloated. They're broken up. Neither one's a finished film. And yet 4 and 5 are just whatever, but they're enjoyable. I enjoy them. I like them. I like them because they're weird fantasy history pieces. And I love Jeffrey Rush. For Johnny Depp is, and I'm like, Jeffrey Rush to me is the Pirates movies, weirdly. So doing another one without him is just as bad as doing one without Johnny Depp in my mind. But maybe they can find someone to fill in for Barbossa. But to me, Barbossa is the best character in those movies.
He's the most fun character. Well, no, he is.
See, they just got so lucky with those movies when you really think about it. Like Jeffrey Rush, hamming it up, and Bill Nighy hamming it up. Obviously, Johnny Depp hamming it up.
I don't remember who it is that says it, but like every truly great film is in the end luck. Like, so many. One, you have, because it's Hollywood, you have not true anymore, but it used to be true. The absolute best in the world at like whatever niche craft that you have, the perfect person for painting miniatures. They're the epitome. They're 70 years old and they've been doing it since they were 12 and, like that kind of thing. All those perfect things plus access to the best actors ever. And then there still has to be like luck that makes it magical.
Yeah. Well, a good way of kind of putting that is I hate to say it, but like Stan, I never saw it. I'm sure it's, I don't know, maybe, don't crucify me, Pumpkinhead fans, but Stan Winston Studios was the greatest at sort of dude in suit / animatronics, dude in suit stuff. They're some of the best people ever to do it, right? And when they tried to go solo, make Pumpkinhead, to make, hey, we can still do scary monsters with just suits. From what I understand, Pumpkinhead's not really much of it's not that great of a film, really. It's certainly no Aliens, or Predator, So it's kind of like, like you can have the best effects in the world, but you also need the rest of all the talent to make the movie come together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But the Curse of the Black Pearl came, like, there was just so much of it. One, I think because they had a load of freedom because it's based on a ride.
Yeah.
That like so much came together. And then on top of that, everyone.
And there was nothing really attached to the ride. Like it didn't take any sort of anything really from the ride. They took some visuals from the town, and then that was kind of it. But like they didn't nothing
they take visuals from the end area too. Like
I mean, there's moments in the movie that are taken from the ride, but like whatever the plot there is a minor plot to the ride.
Yeah,
that has nothing really to do with the plot of the movie. You know what I mean?
Jerry Bruckheimer's 81, by the way. I just saw that.
He's looked 81 for the last 30 years.
I have never seen Jerry Bruckheimer until today.
Really? Dude, he looks like a Hollywood producer version of Mick Jagger.
He looks like Michael Bay's younger brother or older brother.
Yeah, I could see that.
I had never seen the man. I don't know. And I've watched like the behind the scenes stuff. So I mean, I'm sure I've seen him. I just didn't realize it was him.
You know, speaking of pirates, that would have been a really cool. There was that Armada of the Damned. I'll still lament that game getting canceled. That is like the perfect game for someone in Europe to make an RPG on. I don't know. You saw that? Did you see that weird French Revolution, French Legion game at Gamescom where like I thought it was going to be a Souls-like, but it's actually a first-person combat game.
What was that called?
Yeah, that's a good question because I don't remember either. But it was definitely one of those like, whoa, this is weird, like a weird like French Foreign Legion dressed looking dudes fighting each other, but then it gets all weird and fantasy. Dude takes like a T virus and hulks out or whatever.
Yeah, damn,
for some reason it reminded me a lot of like Flintlock almost, but it's first person, not a third person God of War clone.
That weird like take something and Hulk out, by the way, reminds me of I think it's like one of the first things that they showed.
Was it on the show floor or was it
I think it was opening night live
or was
Project
from the
Spectrum? I think it's Spectrum is the thing where it's just like
I got the list here. What was this called? Valor Mortis, by the way, is the name of the weird first person French game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was pre-show. That was technically pre-show. So I mean, just to get this all out of the way for those, was there anything that really anything that was like, oh my god, your standout game for you? I can't really say if anything was like hyper standout for me. There was good stuff there. I guess Ninja Gaiden 4.
Ninja Gaiden 4 was really cool
because they showed like
stuff for Requiem. Resident Evil Requiem was cool.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that yet. I don't know if that was something you'd already seen. Project Spectrum looks sort of cool. I want to see more of it before I make I
didn't even watch this actually.
Project Spectrum.
Yeah.
I don't know that it'd necessarily be something that would appeal to you, but like Steve will love it.
Multiplayer?
Huh?
Multiplayer?
It's like a PvEVP where anyone can become the monster.
Oh.
It's I don't know. It looks interesting. I like the vibes of it. But it didn't really show gameplay or anything like that. So it's like I see.
Yeah, it's one
of those, but I don't know for sure if I'm gonna like it.
Yeah, it's one of those like, hey, it was footage. Someone was shooting a gun. I'm like, did you see a user interface? No, then you didn't see shit.
Outer Worlds 2 looked like this actually made me sort of like, I don't know. I dig the humor, so I'm getting more interested in it. Chronos: The New Dawn is probably
that's looking good in it.
And
it had good word of mouth too, from what I understand from people who were there and played the game. So it has good buzz.
Still Capcom still has me the most amped with the Resident Evil and the Onimusha, but that was just like slightly new stuff to look at.
Yeah, it was updates.
It's hard for me to get super amped. I know a couple people that are just like over the top for the new Black Myth, and that trailer was cool. It just didn't show me anything that I would necessarily call.
I would say the craziest thing about it is the fact that everyone was expecting them to announce a DLC for Black Myth Wukong, but they instead announced their next game. They announced a sequel, which is pretty wild. It's a part of Chinese mythology about a man who controls like 80, what is it, like 88 demons or 88,000 demons. I forget what it is, but yeah, it's like a guy who has a giant tiger for a pet, and he commands an army of demons. But that's the main character for the next Black Myth game.
He's the main character, or he's the villain?
No, he's the main character.
Huh.
It's kind of it's like a Spawn kind of thing, where it's like a man who or a Bayonetta, where they command legions of demons, but they're fighting demons too. So,
I mean, it is a cool setup. If the game plays up my alley this time, or if it's, I don't know if the gameplay is going to be exactly the same. It's not necessarily going to be for me, but
Yeah.
that is a cool premise. I do love that.
Yeah, it's cool that they did it. They did say there would still be DLC for Black Myth Wukong, so it's still happening. But like they were like, no, but we also wanted to show off our next game.
And it looks good.
I
If
can't remember how
that's-
it's pronounced. Jean Kui, Jean Kui, I think, is the name of the character, titular character. But neat. If it doesn't win Game of the Year, I hope the man doesn't throw a fit again, like he did last time. Oh, you thought I'd forget about that? Nah, that was. Yeah. Oh, Silksong got a release date. And I was shocked. I said on my stream, I read the bits of the Jason Schreier article that he posted himself,
right.
about why it took 7 years, and I felt there was a bit of a weird disconnect. There were some things they said that I'm like, I don't think it meant to come off the way it did, but to me, it kind of came off kind of dickish. And I had one Australian in my corner when I said this on my stream, but they basically were saying that, like, yeah, there wasn't any problem with the game. They just like they literally just feature creep. They just kept making it. They were having fun doing it, so they kept adding things. They just kept adding, As to why they went radio silent for 6 years, they said, well, we just thought it would just sour people on our game if we just kept providing updates but never actually a release date. So I kind of see in that sense where they're like, okay, sure, like, but on the other hand, I don't personally think that going silent for 6 whole years like that was also a great look either, because all it did was sort of invite like rumor mongering about their product, which I mean, that's not really their problem, but it's also like, you're lucky that you're millionaires and you can do this, because they said they sold 15 million copies of Hollow Knight. And it was 2 of them and a composer, and now there was like a couple more. They brought in one extra programmer, Jay something, and then they brought in a couple QA people. So there's like a few more people that made Silksong, and they're all going to be millionaires if they're just doing an even split or whatever. But there was some that really caught me where I was like, oh, okay. So people are like, this is how all games should be made. I'm like, I don't think feature creeping your game to death is how all games should be made. Where you just keep adding, I have this idea. Let's put it in. Let's put this in. Let's put this in. Oh, this is so fun. We can just keep doing it. Because one, you don't really get that luxury most of the time. And two, if this was not an indie game made by a very tiny number of people, that statement would come across so different. Like, there's that meme of like a woman in a cubicle in the office, and this guy comes and like hits on her, and she's like, oh, Larry, that's so sweet. And then like this big fat dude comes in and the next panel says the exact same thing, and she's like, help, security, human resources, blah blah blah. And then, like, I feel that that's going on a bit with Team Cherry. Yes, I am. Am I roasting Team Cherry's balls a little bit here? I don't think feature creeping your game to death is a smart way to go about game development. Personally, they can get away with it because, again, they're beholden to nobody, and they're millionaires from the first game, and they can kind of just keep on trucking along, doing their thing, and that's fine. I don't think there's a problem with this game taking that long. And if they wanted to feature creep it to death, sure, why not? Who cares, right? Like, it's no harm, no foul. But it's not what other people are saying, like, this is the way video games should be made. No, it is not. First of all, it's not going to work for many, many other game projects. And second, the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I don't think they intended it to be, but it kind of hit me as someone, someone who lost a friend to it. Because they talked about, okay, well, how did it go when COVID hit? Because they went silent in 2019, and then COVID hit in 2020, 2021, obviously. And they were like, yeah, it was just so crazy because, where we had really low infection rates. And, it was crazy, like, reading about the rest of the world where people were like stuck inside and stuff. And here we were going to cafes and going to brunches, every day. And I'm like, good for fucking you, dude. I'm like, that comes off as like incredibly douchey to a major disease that killed millions of people. You're suffering from it right now. I don't know if this is, I know it wasn't intended to come off that way, but it's just kind of like, we were just we were just living our life, having a great time. We were just, making our game, going to cafes and brunches. It was crazy. Everyone else got locked. Crazy how you all got locked up in the rest of the world, but we were A-okay where we were. I'm like, cool.
Where were they exactly?
Oh, it's in Australia. I forget the name of the exact town that they're from. It begins with an A. But
Adelaide?
yeah. Yes, what was it?
They're in Adelaide, aren't they?
Yeah, Adelaide, yes. Correct.
Well, fuck them and Adelaide. That's what I say. And whatever wizards I cursed. Fuck all of them.
I don't know. It just came off like, I think the comment was not meant to be anything. Well, yeah, it was crazy, but it just kind of came off as like tone deaf, where it's like, okay, well, I lost a friend. People lost family members. Like, I'm happy you got to go to brunch, you millionaire prick. So I don't know. Like,
I imagine that there's like, you're from a small town in Alaska or something.
Yeah, I'm from Nome. It was okay. Life was mostly the same. Congrats.
I know 6 people, and all 6 of them were fine. I actually don't know how big Adelaide is.
Again, to me, it was like, I don't think it was intended to be a prickish comment, but it came off as a prickish comment. So,
well, I mean,
So am I
1.4 million people?
I mean, am I kind of in this? Well, who knows where they are? They could be in some suburb, but I mean, like, am I? I know this comes off as a bit of like bitch eating crackers for me, but yeah, like it was interesting. I'm glad it wasn't some development hell. Like, it was development heaven. But I would just say this: if you're like, well, these guys did it, I could. Guess what? They kickstarted their game, and they became millionaires from the first release. Most every other indie developer on the planet, you will not have that luxury. You will not be as lucky as these guys to be able to do a game, 2 people and a composer, become millionaires off it, and then get to spend however long you want on your follow-up. You're not going to get that lucky. Like, so them sitting there being like, I'll just add, every time I think of a new idea, I can just spend the next year implementing it and making the game longer. And they also talked about how they weren't done. They actually said, well, we had to put our pencils down, and we decided, okay, we better release something, but we have more plans. We're going to add more to Silksong. There's going to be DLC to Silksong. We're going to keep doing it for years. Because like we still have ideas that we just had to stop ourselves from implementing just so we could put out a game on September 4th. And I was like, okay, that's great. Again, you're millionaires. You can do this.
Yeah,
most people
Silksong fans are going to be stoked.
You're right, and I'm sure it'll be. I'm sure it's going to be a good game. But I'm just kind of like, for anyone who's in the indie space and anyone who thinks this is the model going forward of how to make a video game, no, it is not. This is not the way you want to make a video game, for the most part, unless you're really able to just fart out a whole big ass game like Hollow Knight, get it funded partially through crowdfunding, and then become a millionaire from it. Like,
well, and like we learned when we were talking about 1,000 Times Resist, for the most part, you're going to have a very limited, or at least very defined scope, because you're going to have to pitch to someone who's going to have to give you money to make the thing.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Yeah.
So you can't just be like a constantly shifting, growing, because that's how you have. Well, actually, every problem in the industry currently is because executives all think like that same person. They're not the ones building it, so they keep adding ideas.
Yeah.
And
because that's
ruins the project.
Exactly, because usually as a publisher, it's like, add this in, add that in. This is popular. Add a roguelike mode. And it's like, they're not the one actually doing it. These guys are actually making the game that they want. That they come up with an idea and they're making the game and they put it in themselves. It just takes longer because there's 3 of them. But again, I don't think this is a way. This is in no means do I think the feature creep heaven of Silksong's development. I don't think this is a model to follow. Don't follow it. Don't try to follow it. You're just going to bankrupt yourself, or you're frankly never going to be able to get to it, because again,
you'll never get it done. Yeah,
like, oh well, it took them 7 years. It's okay if my game takes a long time to come out. They were millionaires from the first game. If you can be a millionaire and then live through a global pandemic without even noticing anything and keep going to cafes and brunches every day, like, sure, you can take 7 years to make your indie game idea, but most of you ain't going to be that lucky. Don't look at this as some sort of do not look at this as any sort of blueprint going forward. And that's my bitter rant on Silksong.
Well, did you have any game that stood out for you on opening night live or at Gamescom that you were like, you know what, this is winning me over?
I don't know about winning me over. I was actually, I don't know if you saw, there's a new Lego Batman, but it's actually like Arkham. It has like an Arkham combat system now.
I mean, I didn't see that it had an Arkham combat system.
Yeah, it has like an Arkham style combat system, and
Bane is in it or something like that.
Yeah, well, do you know who's doing Bane's voice?
No,
it's Matt Berry.
Really?
Yeah,
Matt Berry from the What We Do in the Shadows. That
correct.
Oh man. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
We love Matt Berry. Matt Berry for Bond. No, Walton Goggins for Bond. I'm sticking to Walton Goggins now, but Matt Berry would be my second choice now.
So that was actually pretty cool to see. Again, Ninja Gaiden 4, the footage they showed to me was actually great because so much footage nowadays, including like that sort of Legends, and I forget what other games were doing it, where it's like, here's this crazy Souls-like experience, this crazy big enemy does this big swinging motion, and the character has to dodge out the way at the last second. And Ninja Gaiden was like, no, he parries it. Like you see like this big old demon presenting, it's like he present himself and he goes to attack and the character just parries him and then like cuts him in half kind of thing. And I was like, thank God. Because both Ninja Gaiden 4 and Phantom Blade Zero are doing this, where it almost is like a sort of rebellious, I am pushing back against the Souls tide. No, we're not dodging out of the way. We're parrying this motherfucker, and we're gonna cut him in half.
Parrying though. Souls is
it does, but that's not, generally speaking, not how you play, not how they advertise it. Most Souls games,
that's like the number one way to beat most of the
most people are not that proficient to do like naked buckler runs in Souls games. Like people can do it, and it's kind of incredible to see them to do their work. But like on the other hand, it's like that's really not how the game's designed. The game is the Souls games are designed where the bosses you're fighting are Dante, and you're just one of the mannequins in Devil May Cry, and that's the mobility you generally have. And you're fighting Dante and his thousands of hit combo abilities, and people love that because, again, Souls adopted the idea that like getting punched in the dick is a really cool thing. You should totally want to get your dick punched. No fun allowed. You shouldn't be having fun. You should be dying and angry, at a video game. Like, we do not want you to enjoy your time here. We want you to fucking struggle.
Okay, Catholicism.
So yes, I'm happy to see games that are sort of pushing back a little bit against that. So yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 like actually looked really good to me. And that's nice to see because it looked like Platinum may not even be. There were rumors that Platinum couldn't even pay for its own electricity in part of its studio.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not, but
that was like Platinum. I don't know. Platinum needs a win right now, don't they?
They sure do. They sure do. So hey, Kamiya even said, they're like, oh, do you think Platinum? Because he's like, yeah, he says, I think there's young staffers out there like hungry to prove themselves, and I think they could make a good game. They can still make good games. So I was like, you know what? Like, let us see what they can do with Ninja Gaiden 4. So I hope it comes together. It looks like it is. That one looked good. I told you about this beforehand, but like in the pre-show, there was another beat 'em up announced, and this time based on He-Man and the Defenders of the Universe. And they had this really funny 80s type commercial where these kids are playing with the He-Man toys, and like a CRT crashes into their whatever weird 80s studio location thing they're at. And they're like, oh, check this out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how long are we going to nostalgia mine the 80s? Because He-Man is an early 80s property. Like Transformers is right in the middle, like right there in like 84, 85 is Transformers, right? And He-Man is like 82 or something. DuckTales is like 87, something like that, right? But like He-Man's early 80s, which means that you're appealing to people in their late 40s, early 50s. And part of
Yeah.
me is kind of like, how long can this go on? Because if you're when boys ages 6 to 11 were watching He-Man in the early 80s, when they were 30, they had spending money. Okay, and then 10 years go by and they're in their 40s and they have spent. Now they're getting into their 50s and we're still appealing. Remember when you were a kid? Remember when you were a kid 40 years ago?
Yeah, but is that the age range playing games?
That's the question there, right?
Still,
So
no,
so
I
it's
don't
it's
know.
kind of like this sort of there's this almost, I want to say, dangerous gambit, because as most people get into their 40s and 50s, like they have careers, they have families, they have other things. Like most people aren't ride or die for video games into their teenage years. However, I don't know if you saw, there was that thing in Japan where like the majority of Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy fans are old.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and to me, I'm sure it was a report that scared the hell out of Square Enix.
I mean, Dragon Quest, I guess I sort of get, but
Yeah, because Dragon Quest is pretty old too. 42 years old. The average Final Fantasy fan is 42 years old
well, in Japan or worldwide?
in Japan.
That
So
is
the
very
Dragon
old
Quest and
for the
Final
game.
Fantasy, they're the two franchises with the oldest average player base of 42, which kind of tells you everything you probably kind of need to know here, which is kind of like, oh man, like
It doesn't really bode well for
well, it's kind
Square.
of it's almost scary, because it's kind of like, okay, so Gen Z doesn't have money, so keep advertising to millennials, the last generation that had anything resembling spending money. and, I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's dangerous too, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I Part of me is like it's never felt like millennials have been the target audience for anything. It's like
Yeah, but I mean, like
all of our nostalgia
Transformers
bait
and
is for
He-Man,
like
and
Gen X nostalgia.
I mean,
It's only
really,
now where things are getting targeted towards the 90s where it feels like, and
well,
even then Gen Z is the one that loves the 90s. So it's like
what is Gen X nostalgia? Like, what is that?
that's
Godfather?
no, that's
Like,
well, Scarface. Um
yeah,
no, like
Scarface. Like,
Gen X nostalgia, that would be who like He-Man is targeting.
I
That's who
guess like
grew up
late
watching
Gen
that shit.
X.
No, like early 80s, like Gen X was watching that when they were kids and stuff.
Gen X typically includes those born 1965 to 1980. Yeah, it's tail end of. But I mean, if you're born in 80, yeah, you'd only be like 2 or whatever when He-Man first came out. So yeah, it's kind of like the later end of Gen X's He-Man. He-Man is I guess technically like
For 10-year-olds in the 80s, so kids
yeah.
that were
If
born
you're
in
like
the
6 to
70s.
10 and 82, then yeah, you're Gen X technically.
And so
So
you're like that's who you're targeting, and they would be 50 basically.
right, yeah.
That's Gen Z's parents.
It's Gen Z, maybe. I mean, depending, either early millennials or late Gen Xers, I guess. Yeah.
No, Gen Z's parents, they're all Gen X. That's the Gen Z
Oh
parenting.
no, there's definitely some young millennials who had kids already. Who had
Or
kids a
older
while ago.
millennials mean, yeah.
It happens.
I mean, I know millennials' children are the Gen Alpha.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying there's some early millennials who had kids really young in life, and they're Gen Z, technically.
Dare you? Millennials are known for their pull-out game.
Not all of them. Yeah, 81. Good Lord. See, that's like the craziest thing to me is like, yeah, 81 is the first appearance of He-Man, where I'm just like, man, these, bro, man, this is getting up there in age, man.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're thinking like Gen X will buy it for their Gen Z.
And I think that's kind of the idea here. I think Hollywood's trying to do the same thing. We'll just resell the same thing to a new generation. Because boomers didn't have any lasting IPs. Nobody in the boomer generation was sitting there like, I gotta get my Howdy Doody collection.
Well, boomers were Star Wars, by the way. Nobody wants to talk about that, but boomers, that's who Star Wars became a thing.
I mean, if you
for.
really think about it, yeah, at the tail end of as boomers got into like the sort of young adulthood, they had Jaws and Star Wars, so they were kind of at the beginning of
boomers
it. But
were
like
20 when Star Wars came out. A lot of them.
but I mean, like, I'm talking about when boomers were like 6 to 11. I think there's no fucking staying power for anything from back then.
Star Trek. OG
Kind
original
of.
Star Trek was there.
But that was a 2-season show.
OG original Battlestar Galactica.
Who was watching that in the 60s in America?
Like a lot of people. That's why it's beloved.
Yeah, I would argue not so much from the initial run back then. I don't know, was it even airing in America in the 60s?
Battlestar Galactica, yeah.
What I do know is that Star Trek, here's the funny thing about Star Trek. Star Trek was funded by Lucille Ball, aka I Love Lucy. Because nobody really believed in the pitch from Gene Roddenberry, but Lucille Ball did. So she actually got Star Trek funded, and it wasn't necessarily a huge hit upon release. It only lasted 2 seasons, I believe, two-ish, and that was barely, and that was only because of sort of fan demand. And it didn't actually come back until the motion picture in the late 70s. Mm-hmm. And that was because of all the reruns and all the Trekkies that had accumulated from those like that 2-season run at the beginning, which is crazy to think about. But
Battlestar Galactica was in 1978.
So that's a little later than I thought it was, actually.
Yeah,
but either
10
way,
years before I was born. So my dad would have been 20 years old.
Yeah, but I mean, again, anyways, my point here is that the boys, the boomers, when they were 6 to 11, whatever they were watching, they're not making a video game of it. There's not really nostalgia for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what 1962 to 65 property you could
Lone Ranger, Howdy Doody.
Yeah, see, like they did the movies. They made movies. Lone Ranger movie came out, and The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, and it flopped. But I mean, they both flopped, sadly, actually, because they weren't even that bad. But
it's like, I don't know. I don't know what video game. I don't think video games ever targeted boomers very much.
Not really. Not so much. But anyways, getting back to He-Man.
Maybe if they remake Joust.
Boomers
games. Love pinball machines. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes, they do.
Fucking love pinball machines. How do you capitalize on boomer nostalgia for pinball machines?
You just do what they already
selling
do.
Them cocaine.
Or LSD, or I don't know. They're kind of big on LSD back then, and cocaine feels like a more 80s thing.
Yeah, no, you're right. Cocaine is an 80s thing.
It's 70s, 80s, but like LSD was really big in the 60s.
And bad weed.
Bad weed. But yeah, so the He-Man is getting a beat 'em up because we're in a beat 'em up revolution. It looks just like Golden Axe. It looks great. It is based on the original 80s He-Man. Again, to me, okay, I think this whole kind of like tangent here is because it is based on the 1981-82 He-Man cartoon. It's not based on the Kevin Smith one, which I feel is kind of a bit of maybe a missed opportunity because I actually really enjoyed the Kevin Smith one. I think I saw both seasons of it. It was really fun, really enjoyable.
Did he also do the She-Ra?
No, he did not. He did not do the Netflix She-Ra, which is the best thing He-Man's ever been. There goes all our right-wing listeners. But
why? What? I never watched it. I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's so excellent. It's so well written. It's. Have you ever had in entertainment? You ever like someone is like, "Hey, make me a remake or reboot this really nothing burger, this vapid hollow IP," and they're like, "Okay," and then they rewrite it and make it into something that's like fucking incredible.
Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, well there we go. See, there you go.
The OG is just like maybe okay, and the fucking new show is just like
Yeah,
Just eat.
so the ND Stevenson, they made they were the showrunner. They did a comic originally called Lumberjanes, and they did Nimona, the original
Oh,
comic, and the Netflix movie.
it's a fun
Nimona
movie.
is a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's pretty good. It's got some stuff, but like I feel they like them and their writing team for the She-Ra was like so good. And I actually I wish the beat 'em up was based on that kind of. I really want a fighting game based on that, but um oh my god, it's so good because like it's what a proper slow burn. It was supposed. It's a 4-season show, but Netflix took one of the seasons, chopped it in half, and said it was seasons 2 and 3 magically. So it's 5. But it's like it's 4 blocks of 13 episodes. But like the buildup is like at first it's like, oh, this is kind of a cute, fun, charming show, whatever, right? It's pretty good. It's got some sauce. And then it just kind of gets deeper and deeper and more heavy with the themes. And then by the end of the series, the last season, people said this because and it's funny you brought it up multiple times, but a lot of people said, oh, the last season is so wild and sci-fi. It feels like Battlestar Galactica. And they're like, yeah, we kind of intentionally did that. Like because the end of it is like there's a galactic empire kind of thing that's basically just coming in and taking over a planet, and the leader is like it was so weird to me because I grew up in a very very churchy household, and like the leader of this group was like this guy's like a mega pastor, and apparently yes that was exactly what they were based on. The mannerisms, the methodology of speech, the sort of persuasiveness of it. I'm like, this sounds like a pastor. The way he's talking, I'm like, yeah, we intentionally designed his like ship and interior to be like one of them, like a mega church, kind of like slightly in a way.
Okay. Might have
And
to
there's
check
like
it out.
there's this really wild, incredible arc for the initial villain, who is definitely a villain, but like he goes through like this arc, this transformative arc where he basically has to rebel against his own god, his own creator.
Love that.
He says like he says, I'm not your brother, I'm not your like, I forget what the exact line is, but he's like, I gave myself a name, I give myself a life, and he says I'm like, and I defy your will, and he casts his god off a cliff, and I'm like, okay, so he's this former main villain with the next main villain. He's based this is the author basically rejecting their upbringing in a highly religious household, isn't it? Turns out it was absolutely on the ball. Like, oh, because that's the big thing they tell you in like these super churchy things, like, oh, this is God's will, and it's like, I reject your will. I made a name for myself. I made my own life. I'm rejecting your will, kind of thing. I'm like, wow, this show is getting really deep and weird. Not even weird, just good and in a really good way. And that's why I'm like, okay, I wish this was a fighting game or hell even a beat 'em up. But then but this is based on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and it is absolute fucking schlock. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend to sit there and be like, oh, but it was so awesome. No, it was poorly animated, poorly written. It was everything fucking sucked. Like, it's a meme factory, but it's crap. So,
I mean, it's the nicest thing you can say about He-Man is that it produced some of the most amazing stills and memes ever.
yeah, I mean that one song, what's going on, would been forgotten already in the annals of history, if not for He-Man.
I think my favorite He-Man meme is the Skeletor telling you something you don't want to know, or he
Yeah, and then running away
running away.
until we meet again.
It's like, yeah, that's I'm trying to think of like a 90s property that would make a great game. And I keep coming back to SWAT Cats, but I think there was
Hell
a
yeah.
SWAT Cats game, wasn't there?
There's a SWAT Cat Super NES game. I don't think it's anything special, but it exists.
So
So
remake that. That's
maybe
how you get some
don't
nostalgia
even
for, like,
remake it. Just like redo the whole thing. Like just re-envision the whole thing,
watch
dude. Like
friggin'
a
SWAT
SWAT
Cats
Cats
every day
Arkham
after
game.
school for friggin'
Yeah, dude, an Arkham-based style SWAT Cats game where you have like the jet and then like the ability to do like Arkham style combat. That would be fantastic if you could combine Ace Combat and Arkham or something like that. That'd be an awesome game. The furries would love it. I mean, look, man, we're glazing a furry franchise here.
I do everything for the furries.
Man, I'm T-Bone, you be my razor. You know,
As a final thing on Gamescom opening night live, was there anything that you saw that you were just like, womp womp?
The Daemon X Machina trailer was terribly edited. Whoever edited that trailer should not edit trailers again.
I don't even think I saw that one.
Oh man, fair. It's weird and bad and just I don't know. The lines they pull where the character's sitting there talking like but it's like a character screaming his line and the character's like man. It's like, bro, what happened here? What is going on?
Yes, okay.
It is an awkward it is just the most awkward trailer I've seen. I'm
making another Divine Comedy game.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, again. So Dante's Inferno 2.0. I'm not unsold, but I'm still a little curious. Like, when is Capcom going to show something interesting in RE9? Like, everything we've seen, and that's the problem with it being RE9, like the 11th mainline game in the series. Spookiness. Oh, like, because we know Grace Ashcroft's mother from Outbreak died. We know that from the first trailer. Now this trailer, we get to see when that moment happened. But it's just, I don't know. Like, part of me is like, okay, like in like a antique old looking hotel, lights go out, someone's stalking you, trying to kill you. They kill, what was it? Alexa Ashcroft or something, whatever it was. Chick from Outbreak. Whatever. like there's so many games where it's like go down a spooky old hotel with a flashlight and there's a guy there looking, and the poor hotel manager who's sitting there like talking to them, then a guy puts a bag over his head and like slowly cuts his slits his throat. And I'm like, weren't you holding a gun, lady? She just sits there and like watches the man die with the pistol in her hand and does nothing. I thought that was
unloading.
I was like, so awkward to me to watch that trailer where I'm like, she pulls out the pistol out of her purse, she cocks it, goes down the next hall, runs into the hotel manager, and then she watches a dude put a bag over his head and slit his throat. I'm like, were you going to shoot the attacker or what? Like
right in the dude's face. He's dying. It's
like, even if that guy is dead, whatever. Like, you start shooting, man, start unloading. Like, so I think Capcom's almost like trying to oversell. Like, Grace is it's a fish out of water, and she's not used to this, and she's scared, and she's not an action hero, and blah, 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 like, whatever, dude. It doesn't matter that Grace is young and inexperienced at shooting things. We've been following this series for 35 years, whatever. We're not going to be that spooked. Like if I had a gun in my hand and then someone just starts like, trying to murder a dude in front of me, I'm going to shoot. Like,
so anyway, I started blasting.
So
I don't know. I want to see more of it. I know they released a thing today, or I don't know if it was today. Everything.
It was some point this week, I guess.
Yeah, they released a thing about like, they're going to actually talk about who is responsible for the outbreak in Raccoon City, and they're going to explore that more. And part of me is like, it being an accident is better than it being a cabal.
Are they actually trying to retcon like the outbreak? Because like, I mean, it was pretty well established for many years that the outbreak was literally Alpha Team from Umbrella Special Forces screwing up the mission to extract the G virus and get in a fight with Birkin, and then the rats carried it. Like, that's been pretty well known, and they've done it multiple times in multiple games. If we're really retconning this, I am like, man, this is fan fiction wanker at its finest. But I don't want to get too down that tangent, because I honestly feel like I don't understand why people are as into the lore of Resident Evil as they are, because
it's nonsense. Yeah.
It's nonsense. Well, it's nonsense, and it's never had a consistent writer. It's never had like a Bible. It's never, it's never had a series Bible. It's never had like a lore master. It's never had anyone like overseeing this stuff. They are Indiana Jones. They are making it up as they go along.
But
It's
yeah,
always been that way.
and when Mike and I were working on Stars, and Mike was doing way more of the heavy lifting lore wise for Stars. But when we were working trying to like get it all to be straight and make sense, we would make these little adjustments. And every now and then we'd have what's weird is the really, really big fans of Resident Evil would be like, "Oh, I'm down with that change. It makes sense. It makes this like
Mm.
that." But then you'd get like a random obscure person on the internet who it would be like, and they ruined my favorite detail of all of Resident Evil. And it's just like some little tiny bit of thing that we just
Yeah.
glossed over because it makes everything else not make sense type thing. And I mean, like we're talking about like little pinprick detail.
Yeah,
I
like
can't even remember what
Barry
it is.
had Kendo sign everyone's gun or something like that.
Right. Something like that. And like they got rid of my favorite detail. And you're like, God damn, okay. That's the type of love and obsession people have with Resident Evil. So part of me is I don't know what a retcon will do. I don't even know if they'll bother to retcon or if they'll just like say this is actually what happened. And then when people go like, well, what about this? They'll be like, well, I guess it's an argument.
Well, the other thing too is that
unreliable narrator.
Yeah. Well, there is actually two timelines now with Resident Evil. There's the remake era timeline,
Right.
and then there's the original games, which
They're
basically
cleaning
stop
things
at
up for
6.
remake. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the original lore of that game kind of stops at 6 technically, because RE2 and RE3 remake and RE4 remake all completely contradict their original games.
Mhm.
And they did that in the name of trying to have a more bridged, cohesive, connected, interconnected narrative. A big part of this was was particularly like the Plagas and stuff.
Right.
With RE3 remake, not even RE4, trying to basically set that up in RE3 remake, which was clearly not part of the original timeline of events at all. So yeah, they're already kind of changing and retconning things in the sort of remake timeline. And then there's the original game timeline. And to me, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care one way or the other, honestly. I actually think this shit works better when they don't try to connect it. When everything is kind of just on its own, isolated incidents, and you maybe sure you can bring Leon back or whatever, but Leon saving the president's daughter from a weird group of cultists in Spain. To me, works fine in its own little isolated bubble. Like, how is this connected to Wesker Umbrella? My answer is, oh my god, who the hell cares? I mean, he's there, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of fine when they weren't trying to, where they didn't really care about that. Like, I think the overemphasis of trying to interconnect everything. I mean, it was definitely dumb in 6. 8 was kind of fine, where it was like you got this memo at the end where it's like, oh, Miranda was friends with Spencer, in their youth. And it's like, okay, sure, whatever. Who cares? Like, yeah, whatever. It has some like little interconnected lore there, but it doesn't really matter much. It doesn't like, it's not like, well, Spencer was secretly making the mold. It's actually a part. It was actually teased in this spinoff and Resident Evil Dead Aim. If you got the super secret files,
There's somebody out there though. There's somebody out there.
But yeah, like 9 is not underwhelming, not overwhelming. It's kind of whelming me right now. Capcom is, I feel like they're still being very coy about what's in RE9. So I can't say I'm excited, because I got my first tease at Summer Games Fest. I think I'm like the gameplay they showed is the gameplay I saw at Summer Games Fest. Now it's just public. So that trailer with the mother, that's new, but like the gameplay footage they released, that's what I saw 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So they're still not going beyond what I already saw. So it feels to me like, okay, here's this little tiny sliver of what the game is. And I still think the game will be good. I have no doubts about that, but
it's 6 months away.
It's 6 months away. And it's also like, okay, the worst thing I can say about it's not showing me anything new or different, which was weird, because I remember when Keighley presented it at Summer Games Fest. He was like, a brand new, like a revolutionary, new blah 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 or whatever words he used to describe it. I'm like, no, dude, this is fucking Outlast again.
Yeah, well, I don't want to dismiss it as Outlast, but it is. You can see the influence for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know what Outlast had that this game RE9 doesn't have?
Didn't have the dick bros.
Exactly. It doesn't have 2 swinging dicks.
Gotta have the dick bros.
If there's an RE engine rendered penis flopping around in RE9, I will retract all statements of being whelmed by it and say it's the greatest Resident Evil ever.
Whelm him with some penis, Capcom.
That's what I'm saying. Give me some. Make it like Zack Snyder's Watchmen dick. Where Dr. Manhattan. Because in the comics it was just like a tiny little boop, like this bloop, little V or whatever. But when Zack Snyder made that movie, he gave that man a fucking horse cock when Jude Law was walking around. That's what I want to see.
That's Billy Crudup, okay, and that's
Was it Billy
Crudup's
Crudup?
penis.
Oh my god, I always mix those two up. I don't know why.
How dare you?
Because it's the guy from Mononoke, and for some reason I think Jude Law, but Jude Law is
all American.
Billy Crudup.
On that note,
dude, that thing was a giant blue alien penis. He could have sold sex toys at Spencer's based off Watchmen when that movie came out.
I'm sure he did. I don't even think he's ever acted again since that.
Am I the only one who remembers this about Watchmen? Does anyone remember Watchmen?
I didn't even remember that there was nudity because I haven't watched Watchmen since I saw it in theaters, to be honest.
Okay, well, I guess I'm just the pervert here. But my main takeaway in the movie was like, holy shit, why did they go so extra on Dr. Manhattan's dick?
I think one of the funniest things about it, if I recall correctly, is like that is actually Billy Crudup too.
Is it his dick?
Yeah, I think it actually is him. And he wasn't expecting the amount of time that it gets. I mean, he's in so much stuff. Billy Crudup is like a prolific, great actor, and then like the thing he gets talked to about, he said in an interview, the thing that like he gets talked to about all the time is like people walk up and they go, "Is that really your dick?" And he's like, "I've been in some of the like best movies ever made, and all I get talked to about is my blue dick." And then at the very end of the interview, he's like, that was my dick."
Really, dude? That man is a horse, dude. I wouldn't look, man. I don't know how you could be upset about that. That is,
well, that's why they didn't cast Willem Dafoe.
I was gonna say, you
they didn't think anyone would believe it. On that note, we have patrons to thank. If you're interested in becoming a producer or a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Takeo Ray. Thank you, Takeo Ray. And our producers for this episode are Dragon Wolf Makoto, Osnight, SFW, Cyberknight, Scrunami, Kroy35, LCL Mayhem, and Ziggy Z. Thank you, dudes. We will catch you next time.
Later, dudes.